Hey guys, it's Dan with the Corporate Thief Beats. Just giving you a quick intro to the video. This is a beat breakdown. I'm bringing back the beat breakdown series where I break down some of the beats that I've created. This was a Drake type beat. It was very similar to the beats that were on the last Drake two Drake albums. What a Time to Be Alive and the one with Future as well. So it was very similar to those albums, and it's a kind of a trap kind of metro beat, booming kind of type beat, and it's called Zone 6. And I'm going to go into the screen share just to show you how I broke down the beat. It's a very simple beat, but it's actually one of my favorite ones because it's got a good, nice bounce to it. It's very clean and it's very easy for a rapper to get on it and rap to it, and it kind of doesn't pull the focus from a rapper, but it still has a nice bounce to it and a nice little structure to it, and little kind of effects in the background that kind of give it that kind of Drake kind of and Future kind of sound. Just before I jump into the screen share, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, guys. There should be a button on this side of the video, so hit that subscribe button and hit the like and share button. I really appreciate that, guys. This is Dan with the Corporate Thief Beats. I hope you enjoy the beat breakdown series, guys. Take care. Hey guys, it's Dan with the Corporate Thief Beats here. We're in a Logic session here right now, and I'm just trying to set everything up for the recording of the video. Basically, this is a beat breakdown. I'm going to go back to doing the beat breakdown series. I'm going to do like 5 or 6 of the new beats that I did, and just discuss how I created the beats and the inspiration behind the beats. I like kind of doing this kind of stuff, and gets my beats out in front of you guys, and if anyone else wants to try and make beats like this, it'll show someone how to make it. So basically, this is a Drake type beat. It's called Zone 6, kind of inspired by what Drake's new stuff that's going to be coming out soon, and it kind of sounds very similar to what he had with the Future on What a Time to Be Alive, and also the album previously before that, which was if you're reading this, those kind of type beats, those kind of metro booming type beats. It's heavily 808 and very kind of noisy synths with some effects in there just to kind of change the kind of dynamic of the beat around and give variation in the verses and variation in the chorus and the hook. I'm just going to play little snippets of each section to show you what they sound like, and then I'll talk about what sounds I used. So this was the intro to the song. And I'll pause it there. Basically, all I did for that intro was just 2 main synths playing the same riff at different octets. So they're playing on C4 and C3, and I kind of did the same with the same, just copied and pasted them over and put them into another synthesizer. And just to kind of give it a little freshness, I chopped up some samples and I popped them into this, and I kind of made kind of reverse vocal effects, if you can kind of listen to that sound behind them. So I just played with some vocal effects and just kind of spread it all over, put some delay, put some reverb on it, and kind of just gave those 2 cents at the start some little bits of variation. So you can, those 2 cents are just really little small melodies. And that's all I used for the intro. Then after the intro, I go into this piece. So basically what I've done here now is I've brought in some of the drums, and I've brought in the 808 first with the drums, and that's those synthesizers. And I'll just talk about something there. Actually, I noticed something. If you notice a lot in the beats that Metro Boomin and Noah Shabib, that Drake's producer kind of creates, they kind of use this kind of crazy kind of 808 kind of slide a lot in the tracks, and you can really hear how defined it is in this beat. And the way I did that was one second now. I created obviously an 808 pattern, but I used the synthesizer within Logic to create this. And a sec now, I just find the other one, and I pitched down one of the 808s in that. So when you hear that slide, you hear I pitched up the glide, I brought up the glide, and I brought down the pitcher. So when you hear the slide of the bass, it's a very dramatic kind of slide, and that's just a regular bass line. Then that's the regular 808 kick. The other one is kind of tampered with, slide down, slide down, bass line normal. So that's how you just do that. I just created that by just dropping an 808 kick into the ESX or EXS synthesizer within Logic, and that's all I did. I just pitched it and brought it in, and then created the pattern within Logic using my keyboard, MIDI keyboard, and I just kind of played around with some sounds until I came up with something that I liked. And I usually kind of start with the bass line of a song, the drums and the bass line. I kind of tend to start with it all the time. So just to let you know that both of those 808s aren't playing the same notes, they're playing different notes. So this slide only comes in twice. You can kind of see it there. One second, the piano roll's a bit big there. So the piano roll there is the original 808. So that slide kind of really affects that slide there. You can hear it going up or going down, or is it going down? It sounds like that. But that's the kind of dramatic kind of effect that you hear a lot in those songs. Moving on, I kind of added hi-hats. Open hi-hats there. Another kind of hi-hats. These are kind of typical trap hi-hats, but together they sound really good there. Now there's a nice little bounce coming on now after that, after when you hear them together. And all it was really just trial and error, bringing in the hi-hats, just finding what kind of instruments kind of work together, and finding what kind of stuff kind of work together. So after I put in the snare and the snare roll. I put in the snare first. I'll show that. Just a little simple snare. It's the snare roll. It's this little snare roll that gives it that extra bit of drag then, like. And it kind of that kind of reverb effect on the snare. I bust that out just to make sure that you're looking at that. I don't usually put reverb or effects on my main. I like to keep these kind of channels dry. So all I do is really spread them out, or maybe I might do a couple of little bits of pieces of EQ or compression on them sometimes. But a lot of the time I will always kind of send them out to a bus channel where there is reverb on there. And usually I usually use a plate reverb. I use a lot of the time I might use a plate reverb, or this time I was using a Prince Hall one. But usually I use a plate reverb. There's a lovely one within Logic. It's called the R&B plate. I really like that, and it just gives me a subtle kind of space in the track for that kind of sound. So there's not really much to that verse, but you can hear where it's going though. It's got a very kind of, and then bringing in just to change it up, I bring in the kicks. Still on the verse here now, but I've taken out, just to mix it up a bit, I've taken out the vocal effects in this section. Oh, but the kick is really hitting hard there. This is one of my favorite kicks. All the stuff that I use is all from Producer's Choice. A lot of the stuff that I have is from Producer's Choice. I think most of the kits are from Producer's Choice. I think I borrow 1 or 2 kits from people that I met in forums before, but that's about it. But nearly all the stuff that I have, I think that one kick comes from their experimental trap. I think it's the experimental trap kit. I think there's a kick in that I use all the time, and it's just one kick that I really like. It just cuts through the mix so much. I think it's that one. I'm not sure. I can't remember now which one. It was one of those kicks anyway. It really kind of cuts through the mix. But then I kind of tinkered with it a little bit more. I kind of added my own little bit of EQ, but it really cuts through the mix, especially when you're using 808s and heavy bass. Kick 5, experimental trap kick, yeah, and that's what I use. That's the one from Producer's Choice, and I tend to use a lot of their kits because they kind of have this kind of common sound that's a lot of people are looking for at the moment, and they make really good tunes. They are really good products, and I get a lot of stuff from them. And I just brought in a pre-chorus there, taking out the kick again. It's always about changing up every little bits every 2 minutes. And then it gets into the chorus then. This is the hook part of the song now. All I did was that. Now for that section is bring in some kind of pad sounds. And then like the drums and etc. It just kind of creates an effect. It kind of lets the person know, the listener know, that it's the chorus part of the section of the song. But then again, it's not something that's too dramatic. Sometimes when you kind of have this kind of energy going, these high intensity energy beats with 808s and hi-hats, you don't want to lose that kind of effect. But so I kind of be careful when I put pads and these kind of sounds and that I don't kill the vibe of the track. So it still has that kind of bouncy kind of movement. And then it goes back into the verse perfectly as well. But if you listen to a lot of the Drake type beats, or the Drake beats in the last 2 albums that he rapped on, you can hear the kind of similarities and the kind of vibe that I was kind of going for, where with that kind of like Jumpman kind of sound. And I think I kind of got it in this kind of beat. It's a really, really catchy beat, and there's a really nice bounce in the song. And it's good for a hip-hop artist to rap over. There's a nice little structure to it, like verse, chorus, verse, and there's little changes here and there just to kind of that's not too dramatic. That's not stealing the limelight from the hip hop artist, but it's still just giving them a little bit of flavor there, so that they have the verse and they have the chorus defined. And that's pretty much it. That's all I really did for that beat, and it's kind of simple, but it's kind of short and sweet. But it's actually one of my favorite ones that I did, because sometimes I think the really easier beats that you try and create are a little bit harder than something that's a little bit more complicated, that's a little bit more structured. But this is kind of very short, simple, kept it nice and easy. And then for the mix, I kind of did a bit of EQ on a lot of stuff. You can see it's heavily EQ'd there on sections where I drastically cut off stuff, just to kind of keep it nice and clean. That's what I was looking for. A lot of the tracks on those last albums that Drake and Future were kind of very, very spacey kind of tunes. It's like they had a lot of kicks, snares, and hi-hats, but there was a lot of space for Drake and the Future to shine through, and that was my goal with this beat. Just a side note, just to get the kicks and the 808 and stuff to pop out through the mix. Obviously, I kind of created like VCA faders there and to control the mix a little bit better, and I added some reverb on some stuff, but I also created parallel compression on the drums, so the drums have a really heavy sound. They're heavily compressed there. So I'll just find the kick again. So the kick is heavily compressed there. It's really compressed, but it sounds tight. It sounds bouncy, and it's got space for everything else. Especially when you bring in that 808. And that was kind of just a little bit of the secrets in the mix. I did some cutting. I do a lot of spread, stereo spread on a lot of sounds. A lot of those kind of synths need to be pushed back in the mix, in my view. Sometimes you can do that with reverb and delay, but and this kind of, I just used the stereo spread. I added a little bit of limiting, and that's really about what the most I did kind of thing. I didn't really kind of go overboard on this kind of tune. I kind of kept it simple, and I'll leave you off at the end of this video with a preview of the rest of the song. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions about how I created this beat, hit me up on the video and I'll try and answer them. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This was Zone 6 if anyone's looking for the beat. Any kind of stuff that I mentioned in the beat will be in the description in the blog post, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, guys. Take care.